Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first session of the Bhakti course. My name is Acharya Nishta Das. I'll be the moderator. And tonight we'll be starting off as an introductory lesson, going over a little bit about where Bhakti comes from. So I apologize, the camera is not so clear, but we'll move into the screen sharing right now. And here we go.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is the Bhakti course. We're planning to do this for a few months, and it's very exciting to be able to share wisdom. That's really what makes life interesting. Our whole journey in life is about sharing knowledge. We learn things and we communicate with others. And the whole world that we see around us today is the product of this sharing of knowledge. So today we're going to be talking about sharing some very interesting knowledge, and that is the wisdom of devotion or bhakti. So, let me proceed now into our first slide here. So, bhakti is a Sanskrit word which refers to devotion. As we were saying, our journey in life is really one of understanding more about ourselves, understanding more about this world, and our purpose in it. So the Bhakti course is meant to help shed some light on these topics, understand more who we really are, why we're here, what is our ultimate purpose. We have some immediate purpose, maybe we're students, maybe we're a professional, but there's also a very ultimate purpose, a much deeper purpose to our existence. So in this course, we're going to be talking some of these, kind of this level of discussion of reality and purpose. So in order to kick it off, we want to talk a little bit about the Bhakti tradition in terms of where does it come from? I mentioned Bhakti is a Sanskrit word, and the origin of this is the body of knowledge called the Vedas. I've included one statement here from one of the Vedic texts, the Ishopanishad. This is an introduction given by a great spiritual teacher. So I'll read this. What are the Vedas? The Sanskrit verbal root of Veda can be interpreted variously, but the purport is finally one. Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge you accept is Veda, for the teachings of the Vedas are the original knowledge. So much knowledge we can learn in life, so many different courses, so many universities, but the knowledge that's most important to us is being mentioned here. And the Vedas are a body of literature composed in Sanskrit, roughly 5,000 years ago. And they offer insight and guidance into all spheres of life. I think one other person here is trying to join the class. So if you can hold on just one moment. I'm so sorry about that. Let's continue here now. So here it's mentioned that the Vedas are compilations. Oops, my picture's in the way. The Vedas are not compilations of human knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes from the spiritual world. Another name for the Vedas is Shruti. Shruti refers to that knowledge which is acquired by hearing. So when we talk about Vedic knowledge, we're actually talking about a source of knowledge that is beyond our day-to-day life. Basically, the knowledge of this world is called, it's related to the gunas, or the material energy. Therefore, it's limited in scope. But the Vedas is actually a higher level of knowledge, which is revealed knowledge, coming from a higher level of consciousness. And this is why it's so profound. This is why it very much amazes and provides information which is extraordinary. Our normal interaction is based on the level of the mind. According to Vedic psychology, the mind is just the elementary level of consciousness. Deeper than the mind is the intelligence. More deeper than that is the ego, and beyond that is the soul. So if one can connect with a level or platform of reality higher than the mind, we can actually tap into all sorts of deeper levels of knowledge. So this is what the Vedas are. It's this higher level of knowledge coming down to us in our conditioned material state. And the name given to this is Shruti, which means knowledge that you get by hearing. So the history, as we mentioned, about 5,000 years ago, and before I get into that, the point of this Vedic knowledge is that it's ever existent. It doesn't actually take birth. It doesn't actually, it manifests at a certain time. But knowledge is eternal. The knowledge is always there. It's a question of who's aware of the knowledge. So this world goes through different phases and cycles where sometimes there's more of a prominence and sometimes less. Now, what we're going to talk about is how in this particular time period, which is known as Kali Yuga, this Vedic knowledge was actually put into writing. Prior to that, this knowledge was received just through oral reception through the ear by hearing. That's called Shruti. So in those ancient times, people had such good memories just by hearing, they could remember things much more better than we can today. So seeing, it says here, Vyasa, 5,000 years ago, Vyasadeva put the Vedas in writing for the people in this age, Kali Yuga. He knew that eventually the people would be short-lived, their memories would be very poor, and their intelligence would not be very sharp. So this is a few images that kind of may characterize some of the moods we feel today. Stressed out, we don't have time. If there's an opportunity to hear about some higher transcendental topics, people are too busy. So what could be more unfortunate? You know, if someone wants to give you an amazing gift, but you say, sorry, I'm too busy. This is the greatest misfortune. So because of all these factors, it was required that the Vedic knowledge be written down. Therefore, let me teach this Vedic knowledge in writing. So this is where we have what's commonly known as the four Vedas, the Rig Veda, the Samaveda, the Atharva Veda, and the Yajur Veda. And this is very well known in India, but in the Western world, not as much. People know this as Hinduism. Hindu is just it's actually a Muslim name, an Arabic name that was given to the people because at a certain point, India was controlled by Muslim rule. And they labeled all the people to a certain side of the Sindhu River as Hindus because they had a different system of knowledge. a different practice, a different tradition. So it actually just refers to this civilization of what's now known as India. We're going to talk a little bit more at some of those origins as well. But here it's mentioned he gave charge of these Vedas to his different disciples. He then thought of the less intelligent classes of people. Okay, so this is a very interesting chart we have to just go a little deeper about what are we talking about with the Vedas? How vast this is considered the largest literary tradition in the world, the Sanskrit texts compiling millions of verses actually. And there's not even enough space it's one quote I heard with that if you had a football stadium, there's not enough space for all these texts. What we have now is only a very small fraction, it's about 1% of the original Vedic teachings. So we have a very small amount, but even that is so very vast. As you can see in the top, the Vedas are described they're classified into two divisions. One is Shruti, that we talked about, which is heard, and the other is Smriti. Smriti refers to remembrance. So the original Vedas here are the Shruti, these four, the primary, that's on the far left, Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. Now, what kind of knowledge are we talking about? This is knowledge how to connect with higher reality. Okay, then there's also the Upavedas, the Dhanur Veda, Ayurveda, etc. This is the knowledge of military and also of health. And then we have the Vedangas, which talk about things like Sanskrit grammar, astronomy, different pronunciations. So this is all divisions of Shruti. Later, elaboration on the Shruti manifests the Smriti, and here we have an even more diverse field of Dharma Shastra, which is morality, different types of rituals and purificatory acts to purify our consciousness. The Tantras, these go into meditative techniques. And we talked a little about the Puranas. There's these explanations of the Shruti. Maybe you've heard of Mahabharata or the Bhagavad Gita, the most famous texts of the Vedas. And also different philosophies of yoga. So yoga is coming here from the Smriti tradition, which is coming from the Vedas. And amongst the different types of yoga, bhakti or devotion is the most essential. Okay, any questions so far? Okay. Just check the time here because we started a little late. So just to review, the Vedic knowledge covers many things: the science of health, Ayurveda, ethics, politics, material prosperity, something called moksha or liberation, which is actually to get free from suffering, and ultimately spiritual conclusions. That's the Vedanta. The Vedanta means the end of the Vedas, or the ultimate conclusion of all this knowledge. What's the ultimate goal or conclusion? That's the Vedanta. So again, why I'm sharing all this? Because this is going to give a context to the practice of bhakti. Bhakti is very practical. But in order to go deep, we need to know where it comes from. And to also appreciate its authenticity. That it's not just a new idea that someone came up with. It's a very deep-rooted, very elaborate and recognized tradition. The Vedas were written in Sanskrit language, and it was originally spoken in this language also. So just to add some very interesting points to this tradition, Sanskrit is recognized as one of the most advanced languages on the earth. It's the way the verbs are conjugated, the vocabulary, the conciseness of the language are all make it a very, very highly revered study. I have many points about this, but I'll just share a few. The UNO confirmed that Sanskrit is the mother of all languages. 97% of languages are directly or indirectly influenced or derived by Sanskrit. Then we say Indo-European languages. This is the Indo. This is the root. Okay, I'm getting a message here. The root of a modern linguistic reality. Sanskrit has all these speech benefits. It increases your concentration, many physical benefits in there. We don't have time to go all through these. It's the most computer-friendly language. Engineers, even NASA, they're using Sanskrit to accelerate and to evolve their computer programming. It has the largest vocabulary in the world. And it's actually known for many, even we have evidence of millions of years. Now, these are a few points just to add some more modern credibility to this ancient tradition, that even modern scholars, scientists are appreciating it. Vedic astrology is highly revered as being much more advanced than any other civilization. And interestingly, the time periods of the Vedas are quite different from modern history. For example, our Judeo-Christian Western time scale is in relation, we consider a few thousand years back. This is a biblical map where they have creation at about 4000 BC. When we go to the Vedas, we have a very different picture of reality. We have that, first of all, time is cyclical. So there's a cycle of birth and destruction of the universe. In this particular manifestation, we have the creation starting from the lifetime of Lord Brahma. And he lives for 311 trillion years. He's the first created being in the universe. So within this time period, one day of this being, Brahma, who's existing on a higher planetary system, one of his days is 4 billion of our years. So this is map showing progressively from this lifetime of Brahma on the highest level down to where we are now. We're in this Kali Yuga period, which will last for 432,000 years. So these 4 ages taken together is 4 million years. 71 of those is a Manvantar as we go up. That's 300 million years. Then 14 of those is one day of Brahma, and he lives for 36,000 of those. So the time scale is a completely different conception of life, actually. How long creation has been in existence, how long it will last, and our place in it. It's quite humbling. And then also modern science is appreciating more the Puranas, Vedic texts that give information about our solar system. They're shown to be remarkably, impossibly accidental accuracy. The age of our solar system, and this is only modernly being evaluated by very precise radiometric dating. But these numbers were already given in the Vedas 5,000 years ago. The age of the universe, and also different extinctions that took place. So that's just a little bit about we're covering the Vedas, the different departments, how even in our modern day it's being scientifically verified. And now we're going on to the conclusion, the Vedanta, which is really our point here, to describe a little bit about what is the point of all this knowledge. And there we have the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This is considered the essence of Vedic knowledge. This gets more into the science of the soul, stories of the cosmic manifestation, yoga, time, different life forms within the universe, and ultimately the source of everything, or what's called the Para Brahma, the absolute truth, the origin from which everything comes. Okay, Einstein, Hermann Hesse, Aldous Huxley, and Gandhi, also very much appreciating the Vedic wisdom, the Bhagavad Gita. And here, Vyasadeva himself wrote the perfect Vedanta commentary, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this begins with the first words of the Vedanta Sutta, Janmadasya yataha. So this is maybe the first Sanskrit verse that we'll cover. It means the absolute truth is that from whom everything emanates. This is hinting at the higher cause of everything, Brahman. So as you can see, this is a higher kind of level, degree of understanding of knowledge. And here I've just quoted a few of these, one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, another from the Bhagavad Gita. We'll actually explain and actually make the connection with Bhakti. In the Srimad Bhagavatam on the left, this verse says, Savai pung sang excuse me. Savai pung sang paro dharmo yato bhakti arhok sajay ahoy tukiya pratyata yadma supersedati. It says that the ultimate dharma means your duty or your function, is to engage in bhakti or devotion. And this devotion should be without end and not limited by circumstance. Only by practicing this way will you get full satisfaction of your soul. So this is a Vedanta statement explaining the ultimate knowledge. And from the Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijananti yavanyas chasmi tattataha tato mam tattvito gyatva vishate tadanantaram. Only by bhakti can you understand the absolute truth in full. In this way, all knowledge is revealed to you. You can access the highest level of consciousness. So these are some textual references of bhakti. And in the future, we'll go into some of the practices of bhakti yoga. How do we connect with this absolute truth, the absolute reality, the source of everything? This will be covered in some of our next sessions. And bhakti has been revitalized recently in the past 500 years or so, and now become a very prominent movement in the world. So we have a lot more coming up. Please do stick with us each week. And now I'd like to just see if anyone has any question, comments. Feel free. Anyone like to say anything? Sirak, do you have any question, comment for the presentation?
Not right now, but I did like it very much, and I'm really interested
Great. Okay.
in knowing more.
Yeah, it's very exciting stuff. So I'll pause here for now because we're running out of time anyhow. But thank you so much for joining, and anyone who watches in the future, please do tune in with us as we dive into more of these exciting topics, which are becoming very, very popular in our modern world and very good to know about, very enlightening. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.